Hey everybody, KSA Kris here with the Real Estate Blitz. I actually had a question come in from Veronica. Veronica has a daughter. She's 22. She has a solid job. She's a graduate. She has new credit, so really no real credit. And her question was, do I have any advice for the younger generation when they look to buy a home? And the question actually spurred from a video I did earlier on renting versus buying and kind of giving my views and approaches on which is better, why it would be better to do one or the other. So she shared this with her daughter. Her daughter sort of chimed in. She shared it with her daughter's friends. And I thought it was a fantastic question because I don't think enough parents really sit down and explain to their children, what it means to buy, why it means to buy, why you should buy. My generation, I was raised by my parents and they told me it's just what you do. You just buy a home. But nobody really explained why. Why should you buy a home? How do you buy a home? The way I was raised is you buy a home, you raise a family in it, and you keep the home until they all leave, and then eventually you retire and you kind of die in the home. The world's changed. It's changed a lot. I think the younger generation, they're a lot smarter. A majority of them are still renting right now, and the difference, I think what's going to change the rental market, and I'd like to talk more about the renting stuff, but I won't get into it too much as far as how much money and how that works. But the rental market right now, I think it's going to change and adjust as these millennials start having families. It's just the truth. So that's kind of part of getting older. There's going to be changes. So this is the first thing. And I told her this is what I would say to a younger person that's looking to buy a house or just keep renting. Why one or the other? If you're looking to buy a house as a young adult, this one in particular, 22-year-old, solid job, college graduate with new credit. To me, you have to view it as an investment. View it as an investment. Don't view it as you're buying a home for love. That is like the number one don't do. And I think the big reason why, your life is going to change. And I remember my 20s. My 20s were fantastic. But now that I'm older, my 20s were like high school. A lot of fun. I never want to do it again. It was great while I was in my 20s, but now, whoa, my life has changed so much. I got married, I had children, I started having different hobbies. My mother-in-law, I built a house for her on our property so she could be with us when her husband was passing. So life changes. Life is going to catch you eventually. And it's great to be young right now, but when you look at rentals basically increasing 16 to 18% per year, you're going to get squeezed. So it's one of those things, if you look at the price right now in San Diego, $1,700 a month for a garbage 2-bedroom apartment. You can find a pretty decent place that could be viewed as an investment. So I'm going a little off topic. Here's my views. If I were going to give advice, which she asked me to, give advice to this 22-year-old that has a solid job, she's a college graduate, new credit to no credit. And what's my advice? So I basically broke it down into a step-by-step process on what I would, give advice on and what I think they should do, the step-by-step process. Step number one, the first thing you need to do is talk to a lender. Talk to a lender? I don't want to buy yet. Look, you don't need to buy yet. Lenders are crazy smart. These people, good lenders, let me rephrase. There are garbage lenders, there are predatory lenders, and then there's good lenders, right? Good lenders are going to sit down and they're going to look at your credit. They're going to say, these are the things that you need to do to adjust your credit or to get better credit. Here's your present buying power with where you are in your job. Here's your buying power when you adjust your credit and what you can and can't do. They're going to give you a ton of advice and basically set you up on a path. Even if it's a year from now. If you start today and you talk to a good lender, they can line you up so a year from now, which look, and I hear it all the time, oh my gosh, well, that's a long time. 1 year, sacrificing 1 year out of the rest of your life is not a long time. A year from now, you can, because think about it, so you don't start at all. And a year from now, you're still in the same boat that you are right now. Call a lender. The first thing you need to do is call a really good lender. I would highly recommend that. Just get the advice that they're going to give you. Step number two. Pause for effect. Step number two. You need to sit down in your heart after you talk to your lender and you got to figure out what's comfortable for you. I think a lot of people, especially young people, when they go to buy a house, they buy for love. They walk in, the lender says, "You're approved for $1 bazillion. Oh my gosh, I got $1 bazillion. Look, you should not spend $1 bazillion, okay? That is the goofiest thing ever. Do not tap yourself out. You're young. Stay young. Have fun. Be in your 20s. Sit down and figure out, what are you comfortable paying? If you're paying $1,700 a month for rent and you feel comfortable paying that, then that's what you should be focused on. If you're comfortable, you're like, I'm paying 17, but I feel real comfortable at 2,000. Here's this situation, whatever your situation is, then that's what you need to be comfortable at. And then build a price around that truth. The lender's also going to tell you about different programs. There's a ton of programs out there for first-time home buyers. Whether it's through the FHA, you have the VA if you're in the military, you have the USDA loan if you're looking at being in a rural environment like in Fallbrook or Bonsall or something. There's a lot of different programs that are out there. It's almost to the point where money's free right now for first-time home buyers. I could go into why, but that's probably like a whole nother episode. So figure out what programs are out there, because you talk to a lender, get on the path, find out what your buying power is, and then sit there and say, what am I comfortable with? Whatever you're comfortable with, that's your price. Stay there. Build a mortgage around that. Then I'm comfortable with this, then this is how much I can spend. Number 3, once you set your price, you need to do some research. There's a couple different ways you can do research. Young people are savvy. Jump online. You can Google it. Zillow. I have my, put it this way. If you live in San Diego, Sandicore doesn't update to Zillow. It doesn't syndicate. So you're not going to see all the properties that are in San Diego unless the real estate agent that took the listing is either a premier agent or they're in the CRMLS, which is in Riverside. If they aren't, which a lot of agents aren't, if you're watching this and you're an agent, cut it out. Do right by your people. Get a premier agent account or get on the CRMLS. Okay, I get off my soapbox. So not everything's going to be in Zillow. So you got to search around. If you want to take it a step further and start researching at that price that you're looking for, call a qualified real estate agent. To pick a real estate agent, do your research. This is what people normally do. They pick the first or second real estate agent that they run into, and they just, it doesn't matter if they're producing good, if they know anything about the market, they just pick them. Do your research, find a good agent, and tell the agent up front. Be honest with them. Say, look, I am just trying to figure out the process. I'm just researching homes. Can you just send me what you have? Can you send me what's out on the market right now? A good agent will. They probably won't put a ton of energy into you because you're not going to be looking to buy within the next 3 to 6 months, but they'll put you out there, right? And they'll start helping you. So do your research. Find that price point. See what's out there. Don't get stuck on finding a house. Again, you're buying an investment property. You got to view it from that standpoint. Because maybe I should back up for a second. Why are you buying this as an investment? You're buying it as an investment because there's basically 3 things you're getting from it. The very first one, you're going to find something at a price that you can afford, right? That you can live in and pay yourself instead of paying somebody else's rent. And you're not in love with it, but it's in good shape. 2, over time, you can put a little bit of money into it, especially if it's a fixer. You can put a little bit of cash into it to just sort of clean it up, update it a little bit. And I'll tell you the story of my first home that I bought in Fallbrook. And I bought it, made a killing in 2 years. Made a killing. So you can do a little bit of work over time. You're comfortable with it. 3, when you look to sell it, you're either going to be able to sell it for more money than you bought it for because it's going to appreciate, or you could turn around and just rent it and make cash flow on that property because you've already been paying down the equity. So now you can take that cash flow and you can roll it into your next home that you're stepping up and purchasing. One or the other. So real quick, I'll tell you the story of my first home that I bought here in Fallbrook. I found a house. I found it for $250,000. It wasn't that long ago. It was actually on a short sale. $250,000. It was sitting on the market. A lot of people didn't like it. When I walked in, the bones were good. All it needed was some paint, a little bit of flooring, and it was dated. It was dated. A little bit of work. So I ended up putting in an offer. I picked it up for $250,000, and which was great. It was fantastic. I was patient. We moved into that house. I put a total of $11,000 into that house. $11,000 over 2 years. I turned around and sold that house for $425,000 in 2 years. So think about that. Bought it for $250,000, almost sold it for $450,000. So there's almost $200,000 there. I was making $100,000 a year roughly off of a home that I was living in, paying myself rent. Okay, so 1, find a good lender. Learn. 2, figure out what you're comfortable with and be honest with yourself and make that your mortgage payment. 3, do your research. Get out there and start trying to find a house or houses or homes or condos or duplexes or anything like that. I would even say right now you can find family parks. We have a property that we just listed for a little over $100,000. It is a brand new manufactured home surrounded by brand new manufactured homes. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, full kitchen, backyard, and everything. Manufactured home for a little over $100,000. That's an $800 a month payment every month. $800 per month. Come on, people. Are you following me here, young people? Okay. So the next one, number 4, don't fall in love. That is the biggest key. You're gonna, and you see it all the time. It drives me crazy. I can't help myself. I have to watch that HGTV. I turn on HGTV, and somebody will walk in, and they only have now, like out here the market, 600. They walk into a $600,000 house, and they're like, well, my budget is $200,000. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Then they go to a $200,000 house and like, oh, well, this is disgusting. It doesn't have the stuff I want for a $600,000 house. Look, you're young. Be young. It's okay. This is your first house. It doesn't have to have granite. It doesn't have to have stainless steel appliances. It doesn't have to have wood flooring throughout and the perfect paint color. Look, you'll get to that. If you invest in your first property, your second property, these are called step-up homes. What a step-up home is what I've always done. I'm getting ready to sell my other one. You find a house, you say, this is the price that I can afford. It's going to have, you're either buying it with built-in equity or it's going to gain equity over time. You're going to put a little bit into it, you're going to turn around and sell it and make a profit. And then you're going to roll that money into your next home. So I sold the 251, 425. I rolled into my next property. I bought a property for $500,000, right? I had some extra money. I put $300,000 down. It's now worth $720. I've only been in this house for 2.5 years. It's $725,000. I just told you what I bought it for. 2.5 years later, I could turn around and sell that house and then roll that extra cash into my next home. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. You keep stepping up homes and have the home that you live in pay for that. Or you have rental properties, which is cash flow that you can keep forever. So don't fall in love. When you walk into this house, don't be that snob. Don't be a snob. Oh, well, it doesn't have all this stuff. Of course it doesn't. It's cheap. It's a cheap house. Put that stuff in it. Make it worth more. Don't fall in love. Don't walk in and don't tap out your money just because you have it. Don't fall in love and say, well, it has to have all this stuff. Find something that's going to be adequate that has equity into it. Find something that will gain equity over time. And if you do that, you're going to be sitting pretty good. So that's my advice. If you are a young person and you are looking to purchase a home, for yourself, for your future, because your life is going to change. Your life is going to change. What you want right now in your 20s is not what you'll want in your 40s. If you don't start now, you're going to keep paying so somebody else's wife can drive around, or their husband, drive around in a nice car and pay for their mortgage and pay for their pocketbook, not yours. So it's smart to get out there and buy your own stuff. If you have any other questions, please send them my way. Veronica, I want to thank you for sending that to me. Do me a favor, like, share, comment. Continue to check out the Real Estate Blitz. I'm going to keep putting up some stuff. And like I said, pretty soon we're putting together a podcast so you all can listen in while you're driving to work instead of listening to all the negative media. All right, I appreciate you. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.